And
recordings.
while you're doing that, let me ask this question. As it relates to the applicants, if there were community members who wanted to apply for research grants or something along those lines, what would be the process? Would it be the same process, that kind of thing? I want to make sure if, our CSAC members know of community individuals or stakeholders who might want to apply for a research grant through this process, what would that entail?
I could take a shot at answering that. It's a great question. So I think one key eligibility criteria for these projects, for these pilot projects, is that the applicant is a researcher and has a research career. Now, many of those researchers may be members of community organizations, like, for example, a community-based clinic or a researcher at a housing department or something like that. So one key thing is to first have someone on that project have a career path outlined for in a research area. And our group is actually interested in pairing community organizations with researchers that are affiliated with the center. So one thought would be maybe through you as a conduit for them to kind of outline what their project is, and then we can help them identify a research partner, a possible research partner for that grant.
All right, thank you for that, Brad.
Sure.
That was a great question, and I'm glad we caught that on the recording. Okay, so the applications that you guys are going to review, it's a PDF document, and it contains a REDCap. Okay, REDCap is like a online database. That's a form that the applicant would have filled out, and so I created, I printed out a PDF of that. That'll be the cover page, and then the rest of it is the PDF submission that was sent in by the applicant themselves. And then at the end is an Excel table that shows the racial and ethnic distribution, race and gender distribution of the participants that they are looking to enroll in the study, if applicable. Not every application will necessarily have that Excel spreadsheet at the end. So the REDCap form is going to have a little information about who the applicant is, like what organization they're part of, when did they complete their training, title of the project, just very, very basic information about about their project, and then also about if they're partnering with a community-based organization. And then the PDF document itself that was submitted by the applicant will contain the following parts. The mentorship plan. So they need to be partnered with a mentor as part for, to be eligible for this program. And so they're going to discuss the nature of the relationship with their mentor. And I'll just leave it at that. And then a short abstract about the project itself, the specific aims of the project, and then the research strategy will be the densest portion of the application, and it'll talk about how, like, the actual methods that they're going to use to address their specific aims of their research project. And then information like then a budget and budget justification. Oh yeah, and sorry, actually I skipped the plans for future funding. How are they going to spin this project and their accomplishments in this project out to get future funding for their research program? And then the detailed budget and their budget justification, NIH bio sketch, which talks about their research experience. And then if there's human subject research involved, they'll have a section about how they're going to minimize the risks to the participants. And then information about this inclusion across the lifespan is information about what age range of participants they're documenting, and if they're excluding children or other populations and why, and if they're including if they have a special target on women and minorities, they'll talk about that. And then the inclusion enrollment table, that's the Excel spreadsheet I was talking about that shows the distribution by race and gender of who they plan to enroll in this study. And then if there is a community partnership, there will be a letter of support from that partner. Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I have another question. So
Mhm.
as it relates to the letter of support, if they're partnering with a community partner, is that all they need for that, or do they have to at some point explain what is going to be the role of the community organization within their research study?
Yeah, that would be described in the research strategy portion.
Okay.
You know, several of the applications that we got are their community partner is our clinics. So obviously that's where they're going to be going to meet with the potential subjects. But some of them, you know, were you know, food-based organizations, or one of them was a legal aid organization. So that was all like the information about how they're partnering is all folded into the research strategy. Thanks for the question, Sean. Okay, so this is how you, like, the actual act of completing the review. So you can go, I've sent you guys the link to the REDCap form. It's a database that you'll fill out your review after you've, you know, read the proposals that were assigned to you. Actually, I just updated this REDCap form yesterday. If you, the applications themselves are now uploaded in REDCap. So as long as you have the REDCap link and you know which forms, which applications you're reviewing, you can find the applications themselves within REDCap. Okay, so these are the scoring guidelines. So score of 1 is good, score of 9 is poor.
I can say one comment.
Yeah.
Always, it happens in these meetings that people cluster their scores right around a 3 and a 4. And it's important to use the full range when scoring these applications. And sometimes you have to kind of force yourself to start with a 5 as kind of your default score, and then see if there are factors that lead you closer to a 1 or a 9. So please do try to spread your scores out. Otherwise, we end up with 13 grants, all with a score of 4, and we don't really get very far.
And, you know, and I'll add, actually, with that previous slide, the text is actually really helpful, you know. So if you find that there are numerous minor weaknesses or one moderate weakness, I feel when I'm reviewing grants that the text is actually very helpful. So just to emphasize what Brad is talking about. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so here's kind of, this is pretty much for every scoreable portion of the grant. This is pretty much what you'll see. You can assign a score from a drop-down menu, and then there's a text box for you to add comments, sort of justifying why you gave it that score and why, and like point out like what you think the issues were with the grant, and what do you think that they did not address well, or in reverse, what they did address very well. Okay, so here are this is a brief listing of all of the scoreable elements of the applications. One would be overall impact. Is this going to make a difference in the world of health disparities research? Significance. Is the project of scientific value? You can score the investigator themselves. Are they qualified to conduct this research? Do they have the kind of background that's going to lead to a successful project? Innovation. Do you think it's new, or is this something you've seen before, and is it worth funding for that reason? Approach. Oh, So this is really, do the methods that are described in the research approach actually address the specific aims, and are they feasible? And if applicable, you can score their community engagement portion. Like I said, not every single application is had a community partner. And then also you can score the mentorship plan. The budget considerations and ethical considerations are not scored, but I believe you can leave comments about them if you had concerns. Okay. Oh, right. So everyone was assigned at least one application where they are the primary reviewer. And if you're the primary reviewer for a project, you should prepare a 1 to 2 minute summary that you'll present at the meeting, where you describe the research question and provide some relevant background about, who the target, what community is being targeted by this research, and who the community partner might be, and some interest, if there's something significant about the investigator's background. And you describe the research, like what is the research project? What do they plan to do? But very briefly. And then you'll also, and then you'll prepare the critique of the proposal within the REDCap space, and then that'll be presented. And then for projects where you're assigned as the secondary reviewer, you just have to complete the form in REDCap, and that will be presented at the meeting. So before the meeting, we will send out everyone's comments and the reviews, so that everyone has a chance to look at all the materials that'll be presented in the meeting. We should say there are 13 applications. The meeting will be the actual review meeting itself will be 2 hours long, and we probably won't discuss all of the applications. So before the meeting, we'll triage the number of applications and discuss the top scoring applicants. I think we can score, we can fund, I'm forgetting, 6 applicants in this cycle. So
also point out that if you do the math, even at 2 hours and triaging some, we only have 10 minutes tops per grant. So it's really a minute, maybe 2 for the initial reviewer to describe it, and just a few minutes of discussion and then final votes. So it really does go pretty fast.
Great. Okay. So the meeting is not in person. It'll be over Zoom. Hopefully all the reviewers will be there. Brad Narshia will be there. The C3EN co-directors, who is Albert Wong from UChicago and Beth Lynch from Rush, will be there, hopefully. And it's going to be recorded. And like Brad just stated, we're going to zip right through it in a few minutes. If somebody has a conflict of interest, they'll have to wait outside. And the primary reviewer will give their brief overview of the project. The second reviewer will talk about what they thought were the strengths and weaknesses. If there's any concerns, there'll be a discussion, and then people will, the reviewers can adjust their scores, and then, we'll move on to the next one. And then once all the scores are in, we will take all of that information, and all of that will be taken into consideration as funding recommendations, and then there will be a final decision made about who's going to be funded, and then we'll notify all of the reviewers and notify the applicants. I'm just about to send out the date for the meeting. It's probably going to be July 22nd, 8 to 10 a.m. And the reviews will be due about a week before that. Any questions?
No.
Great.
Hopefully the meeting goes that smoothly.
Hopefully. And there'll be some discussion on some projects more than others, and I think that's expected, you know. And I think we also circulated a video of like how a committee meeting may go as well. So I've watched that video too, and it's fairly useful. So.
Oh, okay. Are you going to share that with us?
I can send it out again. Yeah, I sent it in there was a document I sent out that had training materials and the link was in there, but I can send it to you.
Okay. Okay.
Well, feel free to email us if you have questions. Otherwise, I guess we'll look forward to seeing you in a week or couple weeks, few weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. This was
Take care.
helpful.
Thank
All
you
right,
everyone for
thank
your
you guys
time.
for having me on.
All right.
Thanks
take
for
care.
coming, Sean.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.